right, we want to give all praises. Salaki. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Kapadash. We want to give double honor to the apostle, Jesus, our Lord, and a peace, blessing, salutation to the hopefully elect that consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, which makes up the house of the 12 tribes of Israel today. This is Shukar Karafi from GMS, Virginia. And those will you be edified. Salaki been eating pistachios. Let me see. Greed, the American way, Salaki. And that's pretty much the average day-to-day person. Esau has really made society breed and think and thrive off of it. More people are self-centered. More people wants to burn you out, use you for your your strength or your time or whatever, and then just disregard you. These companies, pretty much everything in this society is just built out greed. So this is why Scripture talks about conforming to this world. You know how you say you can't serve two masters, and many more. So how am I? I'm gonna start off. Chat GPT. How can greed destroy a person? Greed can destroy a person in multiple deeply damaging ways, mentally, emotionally, socially, and even physically. Here's a breakdown of how. Now, again, going to the system, the extension of Rome, damn, which the system was already prophesied that it would come into power. In Daniel 7. This is the empire which Yahushua will come back to judge in great power with the archangels to destroy this place and make an example and basically show you the fate of the wickedness. And a lot of this wickedness plays out due to because what the man in power, Esau, the so-called white man, is in ruling power, and everybody's in mourning, everybody's broken, everybody's just trying to make it, and Esau has isolated, broken people's mental, and ostracized everybody away from each other. So so it's not about family anymore. So it's not about family anymore. It's not about building true friendships, true relationships. It's just all about making money, trying to get money, trying to get rich, and any means necessary to do so. And that's what basically it's like a TLC match, Free for War, Royal Rumble. I think Royal Rumble. When a lot of wrestlers just come in and they just sometimes they form teams, they form leagues, but all in all, the main agenda is to be the last one standing in that ring, without being thrown out, and that's pretty much the mindset of these Americans. And, and as a you being out here amongst here in America, and if you don't really pinpoint the situation and really can't see it or have no discernment, you're gonna how you say you're gonna become very stressed. Being around somebody that's greedy, they can wear you down. Enough talking, Salaki. I'm gonna go ahead in. So number one is loss of relationships. Greed often prioritizes material gain over people. Hey, that's the American mindset. Let me get that as well. get that in a couple. Give me a second. I just 9 real quick. Second Edges 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measured out the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And you're starting to see that, with the first and foremost the prophets, pretty much breaking things down, letting the world know there's things that you are seeing is really being done and orchestrated by Yahweh Bashar Shah, but being done by the hands of the so-called white man, because he's been given that power to do so on the left-hand side. So ultimately, Esau is causing ruckus, but ultimately, going into Romans the 13th chapter, Job 9 and 24, the earth has been given to the hands of the wicked. So now, since you have the sons of the wicked, the most wickedest, corrupt, powerful nation on the earth, he does what he wants, and what he has done is broken the mindset of these people of the world, basically, all the four corners of the world, through his democracy, Republican, his legislation, etc. So it's not about, again, like I'm gonna read about it in ChatGPT. Then shall thou understand, Salaki. Therefore, verse 3, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, and why are you seeing this? Because what? The oppression, greed, and other aspects that's taking place upon the earth. Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So, for like all that is made in this world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And what you're seeing is Esau tried to portray as if America was a golden land of milk and honey, in the place of opportunity, the promised land. But we're starting to see that this is a this is hell's land. This is very demonic. It can mentally deprave you, stressful as hell, and it's not about any morals or ethics. It's all just about greed and money in this American dream. Let me get that as well. Hold on. So 2 Timothy 3 and 1, additional also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Yeah, going back to 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, and unholy. You see that? So lovers of their own selves, covetous. They covet money, which when you covet money, you become greedy of it. You don't have a how you say, a balance. It's all about just gaining. And that all can also go back to the way that how Esau pushed and used Christianity and threw in the prosperity doctrine. So continuing on with ChatGPT, loss of relationships, betrayal of trust, friends, family, or partners may be used or manipulated. That's the world. That's your jobs. That's that's a majority of people that's in America. So I'm gonna read that again. Greed often prioritizes material gain over people. This can lead to majority of people you come across, they're greedy, and they're willing to betray the trust of friends, family, partners, maybe used and manipulated to, for basically money, material. Isolation. Others may pull away, sensing the person's self-centered motives. Like the scripture said, lovers of their own selves. Conflict. Constant competition or envy poisons relationships. One thing Esau does is that's why I really hear people here in America that once they get that money, they have that. Now it's time for me to shine and shit on people, especially our people, especially you Judites, you so-called blacks here in America, and you've been taught that from the programming of this system, the so-called white man system. Moral corruption. Greed can blur a person's sense of right and wrong. And due to the constant programming of money in our people's minds, and due to our lower state and basically just being the most lowest at being oppressed, Esau manipulated your minds of believing that money and material possession is going to deliver you from your curses or deliver you from your predicament. But it's not. It's not. When you really look at it, Jake has had money. When you read before 1960s, the early 1900s, 1800s, Jake had money. Jake had a lot more possessions. But again, that didn't save them, because again, what happened? Esau came in, bombed you, lynched you, raped, robbed, and murdered. Forced you to migrate, and again, this and pillaged you. So greed can blur a person's sense of right and wrong. Dishonesty, and that's again going back to these jobs. Majority of jobs you're going to is dishonesty, exploitation, and compromise of values. And so it goes to dishonesty. When majority of people you come across, women, men, children, TV, they're lying, they're cheating or stealing, become justified. Taxes, insurance, man, everything. This whole system is just greed. Everything about it. Everybody comes with a lying forked tongue. They come in this upright, good, as if they got good intentions, but the whole time they're, it's war. It's war. And they're using all this honesty to do what? Get over on you. Just like these women, majority of them is their whole body and their whole mindset is a lie. The fake eyelashes, the what you call it, the wig, the hair, the makeup, the BBL, everything about the girls' personalities is all a lie. And they're using all this dishonesty because really they're greedy to become what? Get the things of this world. Exploitation. Remember Romans 12:1 and 2. Exploitation, using others for personal gain. See that? And that's majority of these people. They'll use you. That's why really, all in all, women and men, they're not there to sup with you. They pretty much they want to leech upon somebody else's status, fame, or his money or his material and build off of yours. But then as soon as you fall, they disappear and they'll use you and be around you. It's like scripture talks about the friends, you when you're up, you don't know who your friends are because everybody's around. But when you fall, the people that's still around you, that's how there's someone fuck with you. But we all know a majority of people here in America, they're only around when you're doing good. But when things go wrong, sour, they're not there because ultimately they was around you because of their own greedy, selfish ways, pernicious ways, even at their expense. So yeah, even like for instance, a woman would be with a man that's no good, but if she can gain clout, she will. Even niggas, and it's just the mindset of the Americans. Greed. So compromise of values. People may abandon integrity for success, because people envy especially our people really envy the so-called white man. They want to be like them. And the scripture talks about envy not thou oppressor, and seek not none of his ways. So emotional and mental decline, and this is all going into greed. So anxiety and dissatisfaction. Greed feeds a bottomless hunger. No amount is ever enough. That's why, again, and that's what they keep feeding you off the TV, the television, the radio, the music. It doesn't matter what you do for people. It's like it's never enough, especially these women. And now it has become to like a sense of entitlement, and it's just greed. Nobody's thankful, but that goes into what Second Timothy, the third chapter. You know, lovers of themselves, um, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemer, traitors, heedy, um, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh Shem Shah. You know, so going back, obsessiveness, constantly thinking about money, power, or possessions can lead to a burnout or paranoia. And I've witnessed this with a lot of companies I work for. A lot of the owners, they try to do everything, especially Jake. Um, Jake had this mindset. They want to try to keep all the money to themselves. So instead of like trying to set up a business in its proper order, management, etc., Jake tries to be every goddamn thing and micromanage, which he's up all night, he's losing sleep, and that scripture talks about constantly looking for riches, you lose your sleep. You could look at these niggas, they're drinking coffee, they're drinking energy drinks, they're just not happy. Jake, and that's the American way. But I mean, it's crazy because you get it somewhat, but Jake don't realize the game is rigged. So even if you work hard, even if you put in thousands of hours, man, the game is rigged. It's for you to lose. So at the end of the day, like you read the book of Ecclesiastes, what's really the important of man is to fear Yahweh Shah. And the Lord will give you what? Both joy and when time's coming, he will bring you adversity as well. And that's what we ultimately know in this truth. The Lord gives us joy, and he will he's and there, hey, you're gonna get those times where you're gonna be like, yo, But it keeps us in that balanced state, so we can still think, and then we can still be rough around the edges, because that's very needed in this world. Because again, being around these motherfuckers, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It can be very stressful and draining and mentally challenging, because again, everybody's fucking greedy. Like for instance, you go to these jobs, they want you to work fucking 15 hours, 14 hours, but then it's like, yo, why, what, you understand the more you make, and I'm in this, man, the trucking world, man, that shit is hell. But really, in all, man, you're getting fucked on all these jobs, man, all of them. None of them are playing fair. And then again, when you come around the average person in America, they, their mindset is just greed. So again, constantly thinking about money. Let me see something real quick, because there's some good scriptures on that. Hebrews 13, if I let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as you have, for he said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Proverbs 15:27, he that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. Um Damn it. Hold on. There's one specifically that I wanted. Sirach 20. It's not it, but Sirach 23 and 6. Hold on. All right, I'll start at 4. Matter of fact, Shalaki, bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Oh, let me see what it says. All right, this is yeah. So Sirach 23 and 1. This is not it, but this is I like this right here. Sirach 23 and 1. O Lord, Father and Governor of all my whole life, lead me not to their counsels and let me not fall by them. And this, these Edomites, these 2/3, and also this system. Because if you're not governed and if you don't have that mindset that you want to be governed by Yahweh Shah, you will be consumed by this world. And this world is very powerful and strong. It's very satanic. Who will set scourges over my thoughts and the discipline of wisdom over mine heart, that they spare me not for my ignorance and it pass not by my sins. Because again, Esau plays on the mind. Verse 3, lest my ignorances increase and my sins abound to my destruction, and I fall before my adversaries. And once your mental is gone, you're going to fall physically. And that's how Esau wants you really mentally weak. So the physical takeover is just so much easier. And my enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. Because these Edomites want their kingdom and infrastructure set up forever. O Lord, Father, empower my life. Give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind. Turn away from me vain hopes and concupiscence and strong desire, and thou shalt hold him up that is desirous always to serve thee. Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me. They give not over me thy servant into an imputed mind. Because since people are greedy, hey, they do whatever. Let me see. There's still one more. Bear with me a moment. Oh, well, okay, I'm going to read this. Responsible use of wealth, right? Sirach 14 and 3. It isn't right for someone who is selfish to be rich. And that, again, that can go into these Edomites too. But again, Jake has his mindset as well. What use is money to a stingy person if you deny yourself in order to accumulate wealth? And one thing about Jake, and how Esau has set up this world, he sets it so it's so oppressive. You know, Jake is willing to lose sleep, burn himself out, try to get riches. If you deny yourself in order to accumulate wealth, so again, you got Jake. Like for instance, Jake don't give a damn about the health. They'll sit there and eat fast food just so they can go back quickly to trying to get the bag, right? So Jake don't care about their health, their mental, their physical being, their physical appearance, their teeth, hygiene, etc. Jake just think getting money, working, burning themselves out. you're going to get some. But think about it: if your body's fucked up and it tells you there's no um, roughly paraphrase, roughly paraphrasing, damn, something about it's better to have a sound body than riches. So it says, and that's Jake, man. Jake just wanted to just crash out, burn, so not crash out, but burn himself out trying to get some money or some material things. But if you're fucked up, what good is that money going to be to you? You're like you working all these hours and then you crash your car and become a vegetable. What good use are you? You are only so if you deny yourself in order to accumulate wealth, you are only accumulating it for someone else. This is in the GNT Salaki, by the way, and that's what I'm saying. And Jake don't realize everything in this society really nothing is ours. You're grinding trying to obtain some extravagant life, but you got to pay taxes on everything pretty much, and nothing is really yours. So pretty much all you're doing is you're laboring, and it goes into that even in Ecclesiastes. Even if you try to leave it to your children, because your children can become a degenerate. So five, how can you be generous with others if you are stingy with yourself? If you are not willing to enjoy your own wealth? And again, Jake, like, why is a Jake boss that, like, for instance, and this kind, I get it. These companies are not really doing too good. But for instance, right? If you work for Aldi, I'm gonna use a big company name, right? Aldi, Amazon. You don't fucking see Jeff Bezos, man. You don't see these top Edomite bankers. You don't see the owner of Walmart. You don't see the owner of your grocery stores. You don't see your owners of these companies, man. Why? Because they're out fucking enjoying and doing whatever whatever. Jake on my mom and pop shop, the owner's always there. He's the first one in, last one leaving. Bro, what the fuck are you doing, man? Hire somebody so you can manage your business, man. Stop trying to fucking micromanage, man. I get it. Shit is hard. It's hard to trust. Your family's fucked up. Your friends in the world fucked up. So you think you're out there on the loan, but bro, come on, chill out, man. The you we the people, your employees should not have to always see you and you talking to them. You try, man, fuck all of that, man. But a lot of that's going on. And those are some like the worst people to work for because they micromanage and so greedy and selfish, they're willing to cut some of your funds, their employees' funds, for their own benefit and gain. So no one is worse off than someone who is stingy with himself. It is a sin that brings its own punishment. Because again, anything is bound to happen. Because when money's involved, like the scripture talks about a merchant and selling. Um, when money's involved and etc. Especially in the times we're living in, where things are unjust and not fair, emotions are involved, and this is anything can happen. A lot of people are crashing out and burning out because of the fact that this is a greedy society, and no one gives a fuck about nobody here. Verse 7: When such a person does something good, it is only by accident. His selfishness will sooner or later be evident. 8: A selfish person is evil. He turns his back on people's needs and is never satisfied with what he has. Greed will shrivel up a person's spirit. Some people are too stingy to put bread on their own table. So that's just explaining how stinginess and greed, that is not good. But that's the world we live in. So going down back to ChatGPT, depression achievements may feel hollow if they come at the cost of meaningful connection or peace. Self-destruction. 4, addiction. Greed can lead to compulsive gambling, overspending, or workaholism. Risk-taking behavior in pursuit of more. A person might engage in illegal or dangerous activities. Burnout. The constant striving for more can lead to physical and mental collapse. Spiritual emptiness. Loss of purpose. Life becomes defined by material success with no deeper meaning. Shame or guilt. Once the cost of the greed is clear, people often feel regret too late. 1 Timothy 6, 8, 9, and 10. Your brothers can look that up. Inner conflict. Living against one's conscience can cause deep internal unrest. Final thought. The final thought. Greed isn't just about wanting more, it's about wanting more at any cost. And the highest cost is often a person's own spirit, peace, and humanity. And that's Esau. But ultimately, we understand that spirit of Esau has taken root in our people. So, backing out of this, because there was a couple more. Ecclesiastes 5:10. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance with increase. This also is vanity. Let me see. Luke 12:15. And he saith unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own spirit? And one thing, what a great example what he showed us is this, of how he stood up against Satan and how Satan tempted him. So Matthew 6:19-20, lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth where moth and rust do corrupt and where thieves break through and steal. Because again, everybody's greedy, everybody's selfish. So they're looking pretty much the whole world is looking on how they can get yours. That's why when you live in an HOA or in a neighborhood, you always just have that evil looks, because Jake is really somewhat, he really wants what you want. And Esau is the same fucking way as well too. Now, everybody has become a straight degenerate in these last days, and that's been due to the heavy programming that Esau has portrayed on the minds of the American people. So, but lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Shalaki. Proverbs 23:4. Labor not to be rich, cease from thy own wisdom. So let me see. Colossians 3:5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil, concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry. And you understand, a lot of people make money their God, material possession as their God. But I mean, I can continue on, but I'm pretty sure you got the point. Damn, keep dropping shit. Slocky. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Those who was edified. With that, I'm saying shalom.